Sharpen your sporks and secure your adult bibs, because we're serving up a fast and current meat pile of knowledge, and it's a lot harder to learn with a messy little front. This episode, Professor Kristin is looking at a new study out of Japan, showing an interesting correlation between inflammatory markers in the blood and autism. She's providing a breakdown of the science, hypothesizing what this could mean for the future, and emphasizing the importance of interpreting study results responsibly. If chemistry learnin isn't your thing, don't you worry. There are plenty of side convos about age-appropriate hairstyles, seasonal shams, autism rats, and stinky little birds to keep you smiling and satisfied.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn, and most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention, there's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather, weirds of a feather.
You are the master of your judgments, your decisions, and your actions.
That's really
I'm
intense
stressed.
for a tea
Yeah,
bag.
for one that says
me. I'm the master?
drinking. If I'm buying stress tea, like stress-free tea,
Yeah.
I need to go to therapy. I don't need this tea tag yelling at me saying that I'm responsible for all of my actions, which I am.
That's why I'm stressed already.
stressed.
I don't want to be
I don't
want to
make these judgments or do these things. I get it, but that's why I'm stressed. Maybe you could say something kind, like, it's okay.
That would be nice. Yeah, you're doing your best, pal.
Yeah, you're doing your best.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make stress-free tea bags, and they're gonna say, "You're enough."
Yeah. It's not great, but it's something.
Yeah.
You know?
You'll get there.
Yeah. One day at a time, kiddo. That's what I would like to see. All right. Should we get going?
Let's get going.
Yeah, let's get going.
Yeah. Welcome to Where's a Feather, an AuDHD,
We're going to keep doing that
an
every time.
AuDHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Kristin Stanhope.
I'm your host, Grace Beret.
Welcome.
We're in it.
We're in it. Today we have a I'm calling it fast meat.
Okay.
Fast but current meat.
Okay, fast but current meat.
Yeah.
Yep. Yum.
It's
nothing better.
It's a little journal club. But first, how warm are you?
I mean, I'm decently warm.
I'm decently warm.
Yeah,
but I have like the most superficial warm-up question.
All right, lay it on me.
Do you think I, as a 34-year-old female,
Yeah,
can pull off like half-up pigtails?
Are we talking buns or are we talking tails?
Tails.
Because buns, I'd say yes, like space buns.
Like half-up space buns?
Yes. And I'm only saying yes because I like to do that.
You like,
so
but you look so cute. You have like the perfect face for space buns.
So do you. Anyone has the perfect face for space buns. They're very flattering on anyone.
I think
pigtails are different.
Pigtails are different. So it would be half up and it would be like tight, and maybe I'll leave out like a little wispy by the ear.
Buns.
Tails. I don't think my head can.
I think anyone,
I knew
especially
you were to pull
women,
this shit.
should do
I
anything
knew you
they
were to
want.
pull this shit.
I
know you're saying that.
You're asking me.
I'm asking you.
I legitimately do not like when people judge women for like wearing clothes that look too young or whatever. It's like, it's not because it caters to the male gaze because they're perverted. It's always seen as like sexualizing yourself. But that's because men are perverts. What it really is just dressing the way that you always wanted to as a child and you never really got to explore. And now as an adult, you're like, hey, wouldn't this be kind of fun?
Right. So like, here's my reasoning.
Do whatever you want.
Because I want to do like a half up style.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot of tension for one elastic.
It gives me a headache. Yeah.
It gives you a headache. So I thought if I did little half up pigtails, less tension, and then I get it out of my face, and it wouldn't be to work because I
You wear a scrub cap anyway.
I wear a scrub cap anyway. I wear a low band. I have like my work uniform. I'm done trying to like do hair and like look nice for work. It's not happening.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. I
Who
put
cares?
if my hair is greasy, I put on a scrub cap even if I'm not operating.
Magic.
It's great. It's fantastic. But let's say I'm going to like trivia night at a bar.
Yeah.
I want my hair out of my face.
Yep.
But I want to look nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it in a bun. I want it long.
Yeah. So
I wear half down pigtail.
Yep.
34 years old.
Yeah.
Is that appropriate?
I think it is.
But is it? Are you just saying that because you're like, I think women should do whatever they want? Or would you be like, is she wearing pigtails?
I've literally never thought that about women doing anything of any age. I've never been the type to be like, oh, she's too old to pull. Like, that's never even been a thought in my head.
Really?
Because I just feel like a floating blob going through life, and you don't really feel the passage of time or age, you know? So it's like, yeah, sure, you're 34, but like,
I like to do like
what
fun
is
hairstyles.
34?
Like I like to do braids and stuff like that. But I feel like
I think it's just having fun.
34, like when does it? And I know we can get into like this like existential conversation about like age is just a number and dress how you feel. But like, am I gonna look like I'm trying to like dress younger than I actually am?
No, because it's not like you're trying to look
It's
like
a
you're dressing like
decision.
Gen Z. Yeah. I don't know. It's not me just like making a statement because I'm Grace and this is how I have. Like, I genuinely, in my heart, like, I don't look at women and think like you're too old to be wearing that or doing that hairstyle. Like, women, 70-year-old women with blue hair, I'm like, fuck yes, dude, that's so
freaking
cool.
love that.
Like,
That's gonna be you when you're 70 years
I
old.
hope so. Women with tattoos. Like, I love seeing older women with these styles that they've traditionally been told you're too old for that. And I know this is a little different with like, is it too childish? But I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's cute.
if
it's
you just wear it like out
it's functional.
to maybe not to like a work function.
Even then, I don't know. I don't,
because I want to be like
maybe I'm the wrong
profesh,
person to ask.
Yeah,
but I mean, what is professionalism? You know. Now we got to get into this discussion.
Now we have to. I was hoping we weren't.
Okay, fine. We can skip it this time.
But
I think especially with your curly hair, it would look really nice.
I'm wearing it straight a lot recently.
I think either way, it would look really nice. You got thick, luscious hair.
Thank you.
I say try them out. If it makes you feel weird, put them into little buns and ease your way into it. You know?
I think I could do tails over buns.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. I think the buns.
Yeah, yours
like
would be big.
They'd be big, like ears, basically.
But that might be cute.
I mean, yeah,
like
if I
Princess
was
Leia.
Yeah, I could.
You know,
if I was, yeah, maybe.
Or braids twisted.
I
into
do
buns.
a lot of braids, but then I like because it's easy to get the hair out of the way with a braid, and I'm good at it because I used to do it a lot. But I also think like there's a lot of like
we got to get into this.
We got to get into this episode. I can't talk about being a certified nursing assistant when I was like 20, and then like any hairstyle, like God forbid you wore like a high ponytail, you'd get like the nastiest, like grossest, like let me tug on your ponytail, and you're, like from gross old men. Yeah. And so I think I'm just having like I'm like projecting a lot of that. Like obviously,
I mean, men are gonna be gross.
Men are
no
gross,
matter what you do. So I say don't live your life around men's grossness.
Right. And also like that situation, like I can't be like fuck off to a patient. But if someone said that to me in a bar, I'd be fired. But at a bar, if someone said something gross, I could totally yell at them.
1,000%. Yeah. I relish the opportunity.
Christopher, he looks so scary with all his tattoos. No one's gonna say shit.
Exactly.
Too bad they don't know he's a teddy bear.
Yeah, just don't listen to him speak.
Keep him quiet. You just stay quiet.
Have him stand in the corner menacingly, cross his arms. No one will know that he's
just sighing every once in a while.
Yeah, he's a sweet basement boy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's my sweet basement boy.
My sweet basement boy.
I know a song coming to you. The sweetest basement boy. Stay in your basement.
Cool downstairs. Hot upstairs. All right, Kristin, should we get into little accomplishments? It is 6:30 p.m.
6:30 on a Monday.
Yep. We're
cruising through. Fast meet.
All right.
But first,
let's do little accomplishments.
Yeah.
Little accomplishments, but big in our hearts. Kristin.
Yeah.
What did you accomplish?
I made a pillowcase.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
You sewed it?
I sewed it with my hands.
Why?
Because I bought, that giant roll of fabric that I bought for $5 at Madden's?
Yes.
That I was going to reupholster my chairs with, and then I realized it was too wild for the chairs, but perfect for my couch pillows.
Oh.
So I was feeling motivated, and I sewed a pillowcase I took apart I felt very like Stephanie and Andrea, our roommates well, you lived there in Boston when you were in grad school, and then when I was in grad school, I lived with them, and they were very fancy, and they changed their couch pillowcases.
Yeah, they're shams.
They're shams.
Seasonal
That's what
shams.
Seasonal shams. I felt very seasonal shammed, except this is a permanent sham.
Yeah,
so I'm never
permanent
making one
sham.
again until I have to make the other one.
Was it hard?
It was.
You have a sewing machine?
I don't. Christopher does, but it's like in our garage somewhere. So I did it all by hand.
What? Well, there's your mistake. You could have made it in 4 seconds.
I probably could have made it. Yeah, but I didn't want to go over to my mom's.
By hand is crazy.
Yeah, it was, and I did it. But
did you take Adderall or something?
No, I was just stressed. I was just so stressed. I'm like, I gotta make a pillowcase.
Gotta sew it out. It is very relaxing,
It was not. I was very frustrated with myself, but it came out, and I got my mom's approval. You know what she did? I wish. Too bad we don't have video. You're gonna just hear some sounds. She came over. And I forgot to tell her. I was busy doing other things, but Christopher's like, "Oh, you should look at the pillow that Kristin made. She sewed the pillow sham." And my mom immediately goes over to it and goes like this.
Why? Smack
She goes
all around.
You have my approval. It's really there.
What?
I was like, what? She's like, yeah, it's pretty sturdy.
Bashing it around?
She was like testing. I was like, you could have just like given it a fluff, a little karate chop.
Yeah.
She like threw it on the couch. She wrestled. She like gave it like the I don't know. She just roughed up my pillow.
Full body slam.
Yeah, exactly. She like really went ham on that thing. And I was just, Christopher and I are just like watching her like, oh my God.
Hey, she knows how to test a pillowcase.
She was very proud of me. She was like, oh, you don't like to sew. And I told her, I was like, I only sew on people.
I mean, to get the Teresa approval is pretty impressive.
I think that's,
especially by hand.
By hand, yeah.
You sewed a pillowcase by hand.
I'll probably do the next one by hand because I know it's in my blood. I'm a born sewer.
You can reject it all you want, Kristin, but it's in your blood.
My genes.
Yeah, you can only deny it for so long.
But yeah, I made a little pillowcase.
Congrats.
I'll post a picture of it because I did take a picture of it, and it matches my couch perfectly.
Oh my God!
I can't wait to have the other one done.
You're
Maybe
so precious.
Sew that one, but I do need to buy more thread because I definitely ran out of thread.
That must have taken you so long.
It took me
how long?
Like 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
And the other thing is like I made the hole to stuff the pillow back in way too small, and it's a feather. It's like a down pillow.
Oh God!
And so I'm like. And like the seams are just like, I'm like, please don't break, please don't break.
You do it where you turn it inside out after you sew it?
So I sewed it inside out.
Yeah. And then
I flipped it right side in, but you have to leave a little hole for the top.
You made it too small.
I made it, I mean, I got it in there. It was just.
It went in there.
Went in.
You could have made that in literally 1 minute if you had used a sewing machine.
Yes, but the sewing machine is somewhere in the garage. I don't know where it is. Okay. I don't know how to work it. I don't know how to use it.
Yep,
we'd have to set it up. It would have taken us hours to set up the sewing machine.
That's true. You made the right call.
I think this was good.
Got down to business.
I just needed to, and I would have been frustrated because I wasn't doing the actual thing.
Yeah, so, I understand.
And I'll probably make the next one by hand, and I'll be equally frustrated.
Please do.
But yeah, I did it, and it's done, and I got my mom's approval.
Congratulations. That's legitimately a big accomplishment.
Grace?
Yep.
What did you accomplish?
I signed up for that app called Be My Eyes. Oh! The one we were just talking about, where blind people can call you, or people with visual impairments can call you because they need a pair of eyes to see something.
Yeah.
And you just help them with something.
That's super cool.
I signed up for it. I already had my first call.
Oh, really? What did you do?
I helped a woman set the oven to 400 degrees.
I didn't even think about that.
Right? Me either. I was like, there's not a better way to do this. Like, they have little,
ovens
braille on there. Yeah. They should have accommodations. I hadn't even thought of that.
I hadn't
Isn't
even
that
thought of
crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Exactly.
Also, is she cooking?
Yeah. I guess she can cook, just can't do the temperature because it requires sight. I mean,
Yeah.
everything else doesn't really require sight.
Yeah.
Like if you're used to doing other things,
Yeah, I guess so.
blind, then you're used to, like, cooking is no problem.
Yeah.
So it obviously wasn't her first time doing it. So I was ready to be like, hi, but she was just like, can you tell me when I get to 400? Just like had the video on
that's the perfect first
oven.
phone call.
Yes, because I was all nervous.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, should
I'm
I?
not ready for a conversation. I just want to help you do your
Yes.
thing.
And she's like, can you help me set this to 400? And I was like, okay, yep. Keep going a little bit. Oh, go a little bit back. Okay, you got it. And she's like, okay, thank you, bye. And that was it.
That's
I was like,
perfect.
oh, that was
That's
wonderful,
awesome.
right?
I want to sign up.
No, do it.
Yeah.
You should do it. I was like, I can't believe I got a call right away. I was so happy I could help someone.
So do you you log in and you're like, I'm ready for a phone call?
No,
Or-
it's just, you just sign up, you download the app,
Mhm.
sign up for it, and you just have to give it permission to give you notifications or whatever. And you literally just get a call whenever someone calls. And if you don't pick up, someone else will, or someone might beat you to it, I think.
So they just have your phone number and they could just call whenever?
Well, it's not even your phone number. It calls you through the app.
Oh, okay.
So you don't need to have the app
So you
open
could get
or
you could get a phone call right
anytime. Yeah, anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was just working at my desk, and all of a sudden my app started ringing. I was like, oh, a phone call. Yeah. So you should sign up for it. Yeah, anyone listening, if you have eyes, and I don't even have good eyes, I need glasses.
Yeah.
But I still, can see things plenty. So if you have eyes that can see things plenty, you should sign up for Be My Eyes. It's a really nice thing to be able to do.
Out.
Yeah, it's such a nice little act of community,
it's totally for free, right?
Yeah.
It's free for them, free for you?
Yep, free for everyone. The app is
That's
free.
wonderful.
Yeah. So it's we talk about late stage capitalism and our country is terrible and we're going to hell.
Falling apart.
The way that we build back up and make something better is by building community. And an aspect of building community is mutual aid, doing services for people without the expectation of receiving money back, just doing things to help your community and build up, a place where you want to live. So I feel like this is a small thing that you can do to help others. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just, if you have the time, you pick up and then boom, you tell someone and then they hang up and that's it. Yeah. So check it out. It's cool.
I'll post a link.
Please do. That's really nice.
That's really cool. Are you ready for this meat?
Please.
Some
fast meat.
and
Fast
current-
and loose meat.
Current meat, because
Fast.
this is a current event, because we're up to date.
Current meat. And also fast.
But also fast.
Fast
Current meat. Well, I hope it's fast. Knowing us, it probably won't be.
Yeah,
but,
let's speed it up.
Yeah, but this is a new study came out on July 23rd of this year, so it's pretty current. By the time this comes out, it'll be a little late, but it's still being talked
That's
about.
fast meat.
This is fast for us.
Current,
Fast, current.
Hate to order.
Go with the flow, but not really. So, this is a study coming out of Japan, and it's a new study linking fatty acid metabolites in umbilical cord blood linked to autism spectrum disorder, which I think it's fascinating. Heads up, there's a lot of chemistry involved, and we're gonna get in it.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be great.
All right.
Okay.
Can you give us just a quick summary of what we're looking at? What did they show? Correlation between what? Can you dumb it down? Or no?
Yes.
Okay.
This is exactly what I am doing.
Okay.
If you just give me 1 minuto. Spanish for a minute.
Oh, I think that clarified.
Yeah. I've been
All right.
I'm pretty good on Duolingo when I remember to do it. So a study from Japan just released on July 23rd, 2024 in Psychiatry and Clinical Neurosciences by doctors Takaharu Hirai and I even practiced these. Dr. Umeda was able to show that there was a significant correlation between fatty acid metabolites, specifically, I'm going to say this once, and then there's an abbreviation, which is just as complicated.
Okay. Great.
Dihydroxyiocosatrenoic acids.
There's no way that was correct.
I got the first part right. Dihydroxy.
You start off well.
It's the E and the I
Yeah.
together that's really throwing me off.
Yeah. Icosat.
And I even copy and pasted it, so I didn't mess it up.
There's
I think it should be
so many letters in
I think
there.
there shouldn't be an E there. Dihydroxy eicosanoic acid.
Yep, you got it. All right, what's
Here's
the
abbreviation
acronym?
is going to be called dihetre is what I'm going to call it.
That is still so long.
It's very long. We'll get there.
Okay.
So specifically, they're linking that specific fatty acid metabolite found in umbilical cord blood to autism spectrum disorder.
Okay. I don't know what it means, but it's interesting that they found a connection between something in the blood
Well, we'll
and
get
autism.
there. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
I'm just explaining what I understand so
yeah.
far.
Okay. So how did we even get there? Why did this study come about? So there have been a lot of studies correlating certain inflammatory markers in the blood, immune-related factors in the blood, as well as what's called maternal immune activation. So mom has some sort of immune activation, whether it's an infection or something, while child is in womb.
Are you trying to use PC terms here?
No, I'm just trying. There's a lot going on here. I read the study multiple times, and then I read summaries of said study multiple times just so I could have a better understanding. And I don't think I do.
Okay.
Also, would you stop clicking around everywhere? Your mouse is driving me.
Oh, sorry.
Jeez.
I forgot you can see that.
I can see that.
I do it as a stem.
Yeah, I'm like
I do it all the time. All right.
Oof,
I'll stop
okay.
clicking around. I'll fill it with this toothpick instead.
Yeah. What happened to that cat you just ripped?
Well, I
beheaded.
I didn't behead him. I beered him, and I didn't want to upset you by continuing to rip at him. So he's upstairs, but I'll just stab myself with this toothpick a bunch.
Okay.
It's fine. I'm paying attention.
Okay. All right.
Pain helps me focus.
So basically there's a lot of studies coming out saying that increased inflammatory markers, increased immune markers, and immune activation while mom is pregnant is linked to autism somehow.
Interesting.
And there's also been a study going on with rats where they have found in the umbilical cord blood, so they while the umbilical cord's still there,
Whoa, rat umbilical cords?
Well, because they're mammals, right?
Yeah.
So they take umbilical cord blood, and they found that these fatty acid metabolites that are broken down by that CYP enzyme that we talked about in a different episode, these fatty acid metabolites are present in rats with autism-like behavior.
Explain.
They really
organize their
trains.
cheese.
Yeah. They really have a hankering
Glad
for
we both
trains.
had a joke
No,
there.
yeah, their cheeses are all aligned.
Yeah, they're very meticulous about their cheese storage.
They only like one certain cheese.
Yeah.
It's Swiss or nothing.
Yeah, and they won't stop spinning.
Yeah. No, they actually, because this sent me down a rat hole.
Yes.
Such a dumb
Thank
joke.
you. No, I like that.
Because I was like, I had the same question. I was like, what is autism-like behavior in rats? And basically, they don't have the same normal social behavior as the other rats.
They're rat loners.
They're rat loners. They don't partake in as much grooming as the other rats do, like mutual grooming.
Whoa.
And they just have different behavior. So they're calling that. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Isn't that interesting? I knew you were going to ask that. And I was like, one, I am also interested. But two, I got to be prepared for these questions.
Yes, I'm really glad you did your research. Also, in a future episode, can we please look more into that?
Rat autism. Yeah.
What else have they done to study them? That's crazy. I love. Good for you, rats.
Right. And yay, rats.
Yeah, autistic rats. That's so cute.
So it is very cute, but it's not what we're talking about today.
Now
I know.
Learn about
I know. Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the chemistry.
So because of these fatty acid metabolites found in umbilical cord blood in rats with autism-like behavior, now researchers were looking to see if there was like a human equivalent. So they were looking at the metabolites of polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs.
That's too close to FUPAs.
I know.
PUFAs.
PUFAs. Specifically epoxy fatty acids called EPFAs and dihydroxy fatty acids called diols. So the EPFAs, the epoxy fatty acids, have anti-inflammatory effects. We love them.
Okay.
Love 'em.
Good.
Diols, not so much. They have inflammatory effects. We don't like them as much.
All right.
Both are broken down by CYP, that whole family of enzymes.
Okay.
So in Japan, there's a big cohort of consenting mothers
Rat
for
mothers?
this, not rat mothers, human mothers.
Oh, human mothers.
For this study.
Okay.
And I think other studies can pick from this cohort of mothers. So for research reasons. So they use this cohort of consenting mothers, and they took umbilical cord blood. So mom has baby, umbilical cord is there. They get a syringe. They suck out 30 milliliters of blood. They put it in a test tube. They freeze it with nitrogen oxide, nitrous, the really cold stuff. What's that called? Liquid nitrogen.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got there.
So they put it away for a while.
Okay.
When the child reaches 6 years old, and I think this is good, they tested everybody who was in the study. They tested all the children at 6 years old using the Autism Diagnostic Observation Schedule, 2nd edition. So the ADOS. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
And then they also did the Vineland Adaptive Behavior Scales. Have you also?
VABs.
The VABs.
Yes.
2nd edition.
Okay.
So everybody was tested. All the kids were tested. And then they had some exclusion requirements, like if they, were lost to follow up or they didn't have the test done or whatever. So in the end, the sample size was 200 kids.
Okay. And
they compared what they scored on the scales, the autism scales is what I'm calling it. And the metabolites, the EPFAS and the diols, specifically the DHA in the umbilical cord blood. And what they found was they didn't find much with the EPFAS, with the anti-inflammatories, but they did find a statistically significant correlation between cord blood diols, the DHA, the inflammatory, that amount, and then autism in children.
That makes sense. Autistic people have a lot of problems with their inflammatory systems.
It could lead to more studies. So they found that there's certain types of DHAs. There's certain isomers. So 11 and 12 impacted the severity. If they have more 11 and 12 DHA, they noticed that kids would score more highly on their autism scales. So they would have more supports needed autism, and especially in girls. They had also the 11 and 12 DHA, which I don't think that's actually how you say it, but whatever.
That's what you're getting.
Specifically, really high levels of that really impacted their social affect. And then they said low levels of 8 or 9 impacted their repetitive restrictive behaviors, because those are the big two social things that they looked at: their social affect and their repetitive restrictive behavior. And so I think that's really interesting, and we're done with the chemistry.
Okay.
So that's what they found. So basically, to summarize it, they found that the more DHA they found in the umbilical cord blood, the higher supports needs autism the child.
And what is the DHA again?
It's
fatty acid.
It's a fatty acid metabolite that has inflammatory effects.
Okay.
So how we talked about maternal immune activation.
Yes.
So inflammatory, immune, it's all kind of closely related. But it's these pathways are incredibly complicated, and they're based off of many different things. So this is kind of a piece to the puzzle.
Okay, so it's not like we found the link to autism.
Right.
This is the cause.
Yes. And so you'll see many articles. If you go and look this up yourself, there are lots of Science Daily, and there's one called, what's this website? Science blog. And it literally says, like, fatty acids in umbilical cord blood might cause autism spectrum disorder.
No. That's not how to interpret those results.
Okay, to say that there's a correlation, and remember how in the stimulant episode we talked about a dose-dependent relationship where like the higher this value is, the higher the other value will be?
Kind of, yeah.
So I think the biggest thing with this study is they were able to find almost like a dose-dependent relationship. The more metabolites, the more DHA, the more diols they found, the higher the support needs were for that autistic child.
Okay, so the people with the highest support needs had the like worst inflammatory problems.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The worst inflammatory markers.
So is it that is causing autism, or is it that autism is genetic and the mom also has problems with her inflammatory system? And
it certainly isn't vaccines. How about that?
What? You mean it's not? Like if the kid has autism, it came from one or both of the parents, and autistic people have a lot of autoimmune disorders.
I think it's a link
Yes.
It's a correlation. It's another thing a tool we can use to base more studies off.
Yes. But I don't think it's like,
This
through the umbilical cord, this kid is getting autism with these fatty acids or whatever. It's like, it's probably a genetic thing that's being passed down to the baby,
And also, so I think this study had a lot of good pros. With every study like this, I always want to any study I read, I'm always like, but did they really prove this? You want to make sure you're not just you want to read it and make sure. I think one of the best things that they did is all the children got testing done. So there was no it wasn't like, oh, well, these kids who are in this school system have been diagnosed with autism, and that way we'll only test on the ones with the diagnosis. Everybody got, and it wasn't a study that was like autism versus not autism. It was based on their support needs, based on the scales and how they scored. So
yeah, because holistic people will still place somewhere on an autistic
and that's
test,
exactly what
an
they
autism
said.
test.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not statistically significant to indicate autism.
Right. And there was no black and white, you have autism and you don't. And so we're studying you, or we're doing a versus autism versus not autism.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad they just test them all instead of just picking out kids with autism, because I think about this with all research, autism specific research, but just all anything brain or behavior related in general. Think of how many autistic people are participating that they don't know they're autistic.
Right.
The researchers don't know they're autistic, and it's messing up. It's skewing all these results.
Yeah. Who's doing all this? Especially people who have they were diagnosed as an outside source.
Yep.
Yeah. So who's doing the diagnosing? There's all these, and so everybody got the same test. Everybody had the Vineland and what was the other one? The autistic ADOS. Yes. So everybody had those two. I think that was the best thing, and it wasn't autism versus not autism. It was where you fell in the supports. Basically, they talked a lot about autism severity. I don't know if that's the correct terminology.
Yeah, we're trying to move away from that language, but within, it's a little different within scientific studies. I mean, the science world always takes a while to catch up, with
about 10
this
years.
terminology. So yeah, I think within the scientific context, it's one thing. To then apply it to just people out in the world, it's weird,
Yeah. So they talked a lot about autism severity, but I think what they were trying to say is people who scored higher on the ADOS, indicating that they would need more supports.
Yeah.
And the Vineland scores had more of these diols, these fatty acid metabolites.
Yes, how bigly their traits are, how strong each one of their autistic traits is.
Exactly. Another pro is that the kids that were tested, it was basically almost a 50-50 ratio of male-female, which I don't think we see a lot in studies with kids with autism, I think it's very male heavy.
Oh, yeah. I think the ratio used to be, which is crazy to think about. They used to say that like the ratio of boys to girls with, not diagnosed, they would say with autism was like 12-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they even noted
Yeah,
that like
totally.
we did have like a basically almost a 50-50 ratio, and they didn't see too many different things between girls and boys except for the social affect. The only thing that they saw between the sexes were that the 11-12 DHETRA impacted the severity of the severity, the how much support a person would need, especially in girls. They just saw it more prevalent in girls. That doesn't mean that girls have more autism. They just saw that. And this, this is only 200 kids. So that's the other thing.
Still interesting. Yeah. Because, there's also that study that shows that autistic, and a big reason why girls get missed a lot is an autistic girl's social skills are about the level of a non-autistic boy's.
And
you would,
I'm going to send this to you because in their discussion, they talk about that. Like girls usually rank higher on their social abilities.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
all right. They're doing everything right.
Really
it sounds like.
Yeah. I thought it was it seems like they know quite a bit about autism and people who are involved with this study.
Yeah, it definitely seems like
that. So I just have a quote from their discussion. It says, however, an ASD diagnosis is not necessarily associated with symptom severity, as children without ASD diagnosis may also be rated as having moderate or mild ASD symptoms based on the ADOS-2 scales. We intentionally avoided comparison of those with and without ASD based on clinical assessment. Rather, we successfully showed the biological gradient of the influence of diol concentration in utero, which just means umbilical cord blood, basically, on later occurrence of autistic phenotypes.
Interesting.
So I thought it was I was pretty impressed with their terminology and their knowledge and their understanding of like studies in the past have not have not really reflected like an accurate diagnosis or accounting of autism.
It's so hard to study autism because on top of just like anything related to the brain is we don't know enough, but also there's so many past fuck ups with how we look at autism, how we talk about it, how we diagnose it, how like research has been done about it, all the, stereotypes about it. Like there's just so many places you can go wrong with studying autism. There's so many factors.
I think anything with when you're studying behavior, because I think behavior is a lot of times subjective.
Oh yeah. It's so subjective.
And how do you test, like, how do you know? I'm like almost gonna quote Kamala Harris, her coconut tree thing.
You think you just fell out of the coconut tree?
You live within.
You exist within the context of all in which you live and all that came before you.
It's deep.
Beautiful.
Right. But when we're referring to like behavioral disorders and conditions, it's very much like who's perceiving you and how they're perceiving you and what that means to that person who's doing that testing towards you and how you're being perceived and how you are perceiving. So I think it's different. It's very difficult.
Societal diagnosis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Isn't it crazy to think that like if autistic people were the majority, we would be studying neurotypicals and diagnosing them as neurotypicals. Isn't that crazy?
Unfortunate soul just really knows social cues.
Yeah. They just don't really say what they mean. They say one thing, but they mean something totally different. Yeah. And you just have to know this unwritten rule in order to understand what they're implying.
Yeah. Gotta get him a special tech for him.
Yeah. We need an SLP. Yeah. They said we should do coffee sometimes, but they didn't really mean it. And that could be confusing to everyone else who just takes people by their word and thinks that everyone's saying what they mean.
Yeah. So I thought it was a really good study. I do think that only 200 kids, so let's take it with a grain of salt. And then I thought it was interesting that they didn't like retest any blood at the age of 6. Like, wouldn't it be interesting to see?
They just took frozen blood.
Frozen blood. So that was another thing. Like some of the samples were hemolyzed. But I think it's interesting that, if you get the same kids and test them at 6, is there still that association? Is it just in cord blood? Do we know?
Yeah. Is it in their regular blood? do those things, are those things in regular blood or just
Yes,
umbilical
but
cord
it's
blood?
like the amount of it, you know?
Take a bunch of blood.
Take a bunch of blood.
Take half their blood.
Get that child's blood.
Yeah. Take their blood.
Also, my question was, why at 6? That wasn't,
Yeah.
they did kind of discuss, like, we didn't retest. We should have retested at 6. But why at 6? Why all of a sudden? Is this when, like, was it easier? Did they just decide it? Like, were they just like, we'll test them in 6 years or something like that?
Yeah, well, it might have been based on, like, when they felt would, like, maybe that was the age limit on the test. Maybe it was what they
true,
felt was
yeah.
the most reliable age bracket, which I don't know about that because
Right.
you can definitely diagnose a kid much younger. But it might just be like it gives you, because I guess under that it's harder to look at. I guess you look at like little kids' socialization, but I guess
Yeah.
by the time they hit 6, you're really seeing social
They can also
skills.
like cooperate a little bit more.
Yeah,
you know?
true. Yeah,
It's hard to get like a 3-year-old to do anything.
tell me about it.
And then what does this mean? I just want to reiterate that correlation does not equal causation. And that's why I really wanted to talk about it, because I have seen many, 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 many articles that are saying, like, we found the cause of autism.
It's in the blood.
It's in
They
the
got
blood.
Bad blood.
They've got bad
They got that
cord blood.
Autism blood.
Then- and that is just not true at all. These pathways are with like thousands and thousands of different molecules, and each molecule is signaled like on and off by different signals in the body, and it's incredibly complicated, and it's impossible to memorize it all. And so this is a piece. This is good that we are finding this. I think this is great that this is a thing, but I don't think we can just go out and say, like, because they have diols in their cord blood, they've got autism.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's certainly not a cause of it.
It's not
you know?
why? How did they get there?
Yeah.
So
how would that impact someone's entire brain development? You know, it's like autism is a whole different brain structure.
Right. I think it's an interesting article. I think this could lead to future treatments for autism. Maybe, I don't know how you would do that. And
yeah, like what would that look like other than like because then we very quickly slip into eugenics territory, which always makes me nervous when we're talking about identifying autism in the womb. It makes me really nervous.
Yes, and that was my next. Literally read my next point is like, you know, I even saw someone on TikTok talking about even early. He said interventions, and I was like, "Ooh, yikes!" But I think what he meant was
like early intervention. That's like the term for like getting to a kid very soon and providing services.
Yes. That's what he meant.
Not
and
like
I think
intervening with their life.
Eating a baby.
yeah. Caught that borscht.
Yeah.
As someone I follow on TikTok says.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it could lead to, you know, if you have in utero testing, you know, maybe they find heavy doses of diols and they're like, hey, there's a chance your baby may have autism. That would be great, because then you can be like, great, we might have an autistic baby and we'll just have like supports for him. We'll be ready when the baby comes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be grand?
But I guess, like, what does that even look like? Because you say autism and people immediately think, you know, like there's just such a wide range of how autism, you could be completely disabled by autism. You could just like struggle in school or making friends. Like there's such a wide range of how autism can present. So you buy your kid like an AAC device because you expect him to be non-speaking, and then he's just like, hey, what's up, guys?
Right.
Like he's hyperverbal. Like it's just such a wide range of how it presents. It's just a totally different neurotype.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think, you know, there's certain things you can test for when you're in utero that will, especially now we're getting into like ethics and abortion, but
I know.
But you know, there are conditions you can test for, especially if you test for a condition and the baby will not be make it to term.
Yes.
And then you can make your decision based on that.
Yes.
So
and obviously,
and that's fantastic that we have that ability. But
you don't want to cause unnecessary
at least
suffering.
right now in this state.
Everything. Yeah.
It's getting messy.
It's
been messy, but it's messier. But with autism, I think it's different. And I think maybe that will bring up some kind of ethical dilemmas. But I bet
it will.
It will.
You know what I feel like they could do instead of like doing all this blood testing? Give the mom an autism test. Give the dad an autism test. They most likely, if their kid is autistic, they almost definitely are autistic, one or both
Grace,
of them.
it's the vaccines.
Okay, Jenny McCarthy, you're right.
It's
You
the
know science
vaccines.
best.
It's the vaccines. No, I think it's great that we're looking into this and also like, is it just autism? What about ADHD? Because ADHD is incredibly genetic, as we know. Is that?
And it also comes with like autoimmune disorders.
Right. So I think it's a piece of the puzzle. It's a bajillion piece puzzle.
Yes, lots and lots of pieces. It's not solved.
It's not solved. It's not close to being solved, but I think it's a good study. I like how they did. I'm very impressed with the way that they did the autism testing, which basically everybody's tested.
Yes,
and
I like that.
Based on, I keep wanting to say severity of symptoms, the amount of supports they would require.
Yes. And they were very aware of the gender bias that exists in autism testing. So that's nice.
Yeah, I was impressed by it. I thought it was a really good study, but I do want to say it is chemistry heavy if you decide to read it on your own. I kept like forgetting which acronym stood for what, and I had to go back. I like made a cheat sheet for myself.
I mean, the fact that you just summarized that to the point where I could almost understand it is very impressive, and that must have taken you a lot of work.
If I could do one sentence, is they found molecules in the umbilical cord that the more you have, the higher your supports needs were for autism.
Yes. Yay, you did it. And
article summarized.
Hopefully it doesn't lead to eugenics.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
We hate that.
We really hate that.
But yeah, I thought it was a good article. I will link it in our references along with a couple other summary articles, including the one that said like fatty acids might be the cause of autism. And because they did summarize it well, but I just really hate the title. But yeah, I'll have all those. If did you read this article? Did you like this article? Did you see a bunch of stuff on TikTok about how now we have the cause of autism and you were like, that doesn't sound right?
Yep. Speak up.
Speak up.
Let us know.
And write in at weirdswithfeather@gmail.com. You can DM us. You can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group.
Yeah, we do.
It's lovely.
Come join.
I'll probably post this article on the Facebook group.
Sure.
I think it would be great.
Yeah.
Are you like, how do we keep the horse train running? Well,
Please.
there's a solution to that problem. You can donate at ko-fi.com/weirdswithfeather.
You got it.
Buy us a cup of coffee. You can go to our merch store on our website, which is weirdswithfeather.com, and you can buy some merch. There are lots of things like stickers and a water bottle and totes. Maybe a hat.
Nutsucker tote.
Nutsucker tote.
Not nut.
Nutsucker.
Oh.
Nutsucker tote. That one too. Now we might have to make one. No, we won't.
No.
And maybe there's a wet little front shirt.
Yep. I hope so.
Do you need a shirt for your wet little front?
Do you want to let everyone know that you have a permanent wet little front?
Yeah.
Come get a wet little front shirt.
Come get one at weirdswithfeather.com.
Yeah. I'm also working on a shoe bill puppets.
Oh, the shoe bill puppets.
Yeah.
Like a little flag.
Like mascot. Yeah. Little mascot merch.
There's a new TikTok going around on this girl watching the Shoe Bill Animal Planet or Planet Earth episode on the Shoe Bill stork, and she's like losing her mind on how fucking creepy that bird is, because it's not a bird, lady, it's a puppet. That's why you're so worried about it. It doesn't look like it's a real thing because it's a puppet.
Get with the program.
It's a puppet.
Yep.
That being said,
yeah,
I've got a crazy bod for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Did we forget anything?
No, last note. We have to learn about rat autism is my final note. Okay. Promise me. Here and now. Swear to me.
I feel like you're going to be disappointed.
I don't know
but
if I am.
will learn about rat autism for you.
I really want to learn about rat autism.
Okay.
I hope there are other studies. I just want to explore, you know?
Okay.
I just want to make a mental note now on the pod.
Sure.
That we will explore rat autism.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now I'm ready for your bod.
Do you want this bod?
Nice bod.
Want your bod.
Hot bod.
Today's bod was found on TikTok.
Okay.
It's called the Watson.
Whoa.
I don't think that's the right name to say it, but I saw a bunch of different people say it differently, and this was my favorite.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah. Hoatzin.
Watson.
Watson, like Watson, but Watson.
Watson.
Yeah.
I think you got it.
Yeah, it's a large, funny-looking bird about the size of a pheasant.
Ooh.
It's got a blue face, red wings, a brown body, and like this orange spiky crest.
Whoa.
It's wild. Looks wild.
Cool.
It lives in the Amazon, and it's known as an avian dinosaur because, one, evolution, they're related. Dinosaurs, birds, we all know this.
Yep.
2, the chicks are born with these claws at the tips of their wings, almost like dinosaur hands.
Yeah.
And they use them to climb up the trees if they ever fall out of the nest.
What?
And sometimes they'll just jump the nest if like the nest is being threatened by a predator.
Yeah.
They'll just like boop. I hate to say yeet twice, but they yeet themselves out of the nest. They fall into the river, and then they just ice pick climb themselves back up. When they grow up, the claws fall out.
Whoa.
And it only eats leaves, and it's a ruminant, just like a cow.
What does that mean?
A ruminant?
Yeah.
It's the type of digestion. You know how cows have
the
that
stomachs?
this multiple, like,
yeah.
I don't know if they have multiple stomachs, but what they do is they like ferment the leaves in their like crop, and then they like eat them again.
Barf it up?
Like cows do.
Oh.
Cows and goats and sheep are all ruminants.
Sheep?
Are all ruminants.
Maybe. I didn't even know the word.
Well, now we're going to have to do
Ruminants.
an episode on ruminants.
Yep. Ruminants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's a bird that eats
so
grass?
it's new. It leaves because they live in the Amazon.
Oh, sorry. Leaves.
So one article was a couple years old and said it was the only bird ever to be found as a ruminant, but now they're finding more birds that are ruminants.
Whoa.
So it's they're
like
also this is my new favorite bird. They're like really bad at flying. They're kind of like a chicken where they like so a lot of these articles like tore apart this bird.
Bashing on it.
They're bad flyers and they smell like manure. They're ruminants and they are born with claws and they have a big blue ugly face and they look wild. And I'm like, this
monsters.
Yeah, and they can't fly well. They fly kind of like a chicken
but they're born in trees?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of trees along. So they can fly just enough to get to the other tree, basically.
Oh.
Kind of like a big jump and then supported by their wings.
Like a flying squirrel.
Kind of, yeah. Or like, have you ever seen like a turkey fly?
Yeah.
Not well.
Yeah.
But it's doing it.
All right. He's trying.
So, and so they have a lot of calls, but it's known for its deep like chuff or huff.
I can't wait to hear this.
Which multiple articles described as 1, almost like a wood saw, like sawing wood.
All right.
Or 2, a heavy smoker cough.
I love this bird. This is the best bird.
I'm going to show you a picture of it. It's like the funniest looking thing. It's like, oh my God.
Probably smells like manure because it's always barfing and then eating its own barf.
Oh, we've got an ad. God damn it. But I think in this, there's a couple different clicks, but you'll hear this huff.
That one?
Yeah, and then there's like clicks in between. Like I think you hear the clicks more in this, but that like chuff in the background, that like the one in the background that's like but they're also like
I got lots of okay.
I'm choking. They're like choking but coughing.
Yeah. All right, smoker's cough. I think you got it. I think you nailed it. I think
They're
that's
like,
it.
can I please look up this bird? Look
Okay.
at pictures of this bird. For the love of God. This
Watson.
Watson.
Oh my God, he's such a freak.
I know. I want
love
one.
them.
I love him.
They're so
just
cool.
like
They look like little peacocks.
yeah, you're kind of like, they're like one of those creatures where you look at and you're like, how'd you get this far? Like a sloth, you know? You're like, how'd you get this far in life, you know?
They've got little claws. I mean, they're very scrappy as babies, and then they become bad at being birds as adults.
Yeah.
They are cool. They kind of look like little cassowaries.
Yeah.
With the blue faces.
If
the dinosaur
cross
face.
like a cassowary and a chicken together.
Yeah. They're tiny little guys. They're so cute.
They're like a pheasant size. They're
Yes.
like a little bit bigger than a chicken.
I love them.
I know. I like internet. Stop being so mean.
I know. Leave this bird alone.
Just because he's a little stinky and he might burp up some leaves.
He's bad at flying.
And he's born with these weird claws.
creepy
and sometimes
hooks.
they throw themselves outside of the nest for funsies.
Yeah.
And they can't really fly.
Yeah. He's got orange
He's
hair.
got weird hair and a weird face.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you need to like hurt his feelings, okay?
He's fine. He's doing just fine.
He's doing just fine. He's loving life in the Amazon.
They've
He
made it
lives
this far.
right?
They're doing something right.
Right. These are avian dinosaurs.
Show some respect.
Okay.
Right.